Success isn't an event, it's a process that compounds. And here's what most people miss. The same principle that builds empires can also build disasters. Right now, this very moment, you're in the middle of either a beautiful accumulation or a terrible one. I've spent years watching people, studying success, observing failure, and I'll tell you something that changed everything for me. Life doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to work. But not just any work. It responds to the kind of work that builds on itself, day after day, choice after choice, until something magnificent emerges from what seemed like nothing at all. Let me tell you what I mean. When I was a young man, broke and frustrated, I couldn't understand why some people seemed to have everything while I had nothing. I thought they were lucky. I thought they knew something I didn't. I thought maybe the game was rigged. But then someone shared with me a truth so simple, so powerful, that it literally transformed my entire existence. They said success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Now, when I first heard that, I didn't get it. A few simple disciplines? That's it? That's the secret? Where's the magic? Where's the overnight breakthrough? But here's what I didn't understand then. I was looking for the event when I should have been looking at the process. I was waiting for my ship to come in when I should have been swimming out to meet it, stroke by stroke, day by day. Think about a snowball for a moment. Not the kind you throw at your neighbor, but the kind that rolls down a hill. It starts small, so small you could hold it in your hand. Maybe it's just a handful of snow packed together, nothing impressive, but you set it at the top of a hill and give it a push. At first, nothing dramatic happens. It rolls a few feet, picks up a little more snow, grows slightly bigger. Someone watching might say, "So what? It's just a snowball." But you keep watching. It rolls further, and now it's picking up speed. More snow sticks to it. It's getting heavier, faster, bigger, and then something remarkable happens. It reaches a point where you couldn't stop it if you tried. It's massive, it's powerful, it's transforming everything in its path. That's your life. That's how personal growth works. That's how fortunes are built and how poverty becomes permanent. That's how health is created and how disease takes hold. It's all the same principle. Small things, repeated consistently over time, compound into something enormous. Here's what I've learned, and I learned it the hard way. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. They want the snowball to be massive on day one. They want to start at the bottom of the hill with a boulder. But that's not how it works. You start with what you can hold in your hand. You start with what seems insignificant. You start with a single decision. Let me break this down for you. Every day you're making deposits or withdrawals from your health account, from your knowledge account, from your relationship account, from your financial account. Small deposits, small withdrawals, they don't seem to matter much in the moment. Skip the gym today? No big deal. You look the same in the mirror. Skip it for 100 days? Now you've got a problem. Read 10 pages of a good book today? You won't be smarter by dinner. Read 10 pages every day for a year. You'll have read 12 to 15 books and your mind will be transformed. The truth is, success is not doing 1,000 different things. It's doing a dozen things 1,000 times. It's the same principle working in reverse for failure. It's not the dramatic collapse that destroys most lives. It's the slow drift, the daily neglect, the small errors in judgment repeated until they become a disaster. I remember when I first started working on myself, really working, not just wishing and hoping. I decided to change one thing, just one thing. I started reading 30 minutes a day. That's it, 30 minutes. Now, some people thought that was cute. Some people thought I was wasting my time. After all, what's 30 minutes gonna do? But here's what they didn't understand. 30 minutes a day is 3.5 hours a week. That's over 180 hours a year. That's the equivalent of more than 4 full work weeks just reading, learning, growing. In 5 years, that's over 900 hours of learning. Do you know what happens to a person who invests 900 hours into their mind? They become a different person, completely different. And that's just one habit, one small discipline. But here's where it gets interesting. When you change one thing, really change it, it affects everything else. That reading habit, it made me think differently. Thinking differently made me act differently. Acting differently produced different results. Different results built my confidence. Confidence led to bigger decisions. Bigger decisions led to better opportunities. One small snowball started rolling and it picked up everything good in its path. Now, let me tell you about the other side, because this principle doesn't play favorites. A young person decides to have just one drink too many on the weekend. No big deal, right? Everyone does it. But one becomes two. Two becomes a habit becomes a lifestyle becomes an addiction becomes a destroyed family becomes a wasted life. Same principle, small beginning, consistent repetition, massive result. The question you've got to ask yourself is this: what's rolling in my life right now? What am I doing every single day that's picking up speed? Because something is. You can't live without creating momentum in some direction. You're either growing or dying. You're either building or destroying. You're either accumulating wisdom or accumulating regret. There's no standing still in life. That's an illusion. Here's what separates successful people from everyone else. They understand the value of small beginnings. They don't despise the day of small things. They know that every giant oak was once a tiny acorn. They know that every fortune started with a single dollar saved. They know that every healthy body started with a single good decision. They respect the process. Most people don't. Most people want to start big or not start at all. They say things like, when I have more money, then I'll start investing. When I have more time, then I'll start learning. When things settle down, then I'll start working on my health. But here's the problem with that thinking. The small disciplines that seem insignificant today will transform into something significant tomorrow only if you start them today. You can't make up for lost time. You can't get back the compound interest you missed by waiting. Every day you delay is a day your snowball could have been rolling. Let me give you something practical. If you improve just 1% every day, do you know what happens in a year? You don't improve 365%. You improve 3,778%. That's the mathematics of compound growth. But if you get worse by just 1% every day by the end of the year, you're down to almost nothing. Same principle, different direction. Now, some people hear that and they get excited. They say, all right, I'm going to improve everything by 1% starting tomorrow. And you know what happens? They burn out in a week because they're trying to push a massive boulder uphill instead of rolling a small snowball downhill. They're fighting the principle instead of working with it. Here's how you work with it. You start so small that you can't fail. You start with something so simple that you'd be embarrassed not to do it. Want to get in shape? Don't commit to an hour at the gym every day. Commit to 10 push-ups. Just 10. That's it. Sounds ridiculous, right? But here's what happens. You do 10 push-ups today. Tomorrow, you do 10 more. After a week, 10 becomes easy, so you do 15, then 20, then you add a few sit-ups. Before you know it, you're actually working out, and it feels natural because you built the momentum slowly. Want to build wealth? Don't commit to saving half your paycheck. Commit to saving $5 a day. Just 5. Anyone can save $5. You spend more than that on coffee or lunch without thinking about it. But $5 a day is $1,825 a year. Invested wisely, that compounds. More importantly, the habit of saving compounds. Once you're comfortable saving 5, you'll save 10, then 20. Then you'll start looking for ways to earn more so you can save more. The snowball rolls. The problem is, we live in a microwave society. Everyone wants instant results, instant coffee, instant food, instant success. But personal growth doesn't work in a microwave. It works in a crock pot. Slow, steady, consistent heat over time transforms the ingredients into something wonderful. Rush the process and you ruin the meal. I've watched people try to rush success and I'll tell you what happens. They fail, or worse, they succeed temporarily and then lose it all because they didn't build the foundation to sustain it. You see it all the time. Someone wins the lottery and they're broke 5 years later. Why? Because they got the money before they developed the character to keep it. They had the fruit without growing the tree. You can't sustain what you haven't built slowly. That's why the snowball effect is so powerful. It builds you while it builds your results. When you work on yourself every day, when you make small improvements consistently, you're not just creating success, you're creating the person who can handle success. You're developing discipline. You're building character. You're strengthening your mind. And when the results come, and they will come, you'll be ready for them. Let me tell you something else about this process. It's invisible for a while. That's the hardest part. You're working, you're trying, you're doing the disciplines, and nothing seems to be happening. Your bank account looks the same. Your body looks the same. Your circumstances look the same. This is where most people quit. They say, see, I tried, it doesn't work. But they quit right before the breakthrough. Think about bamboo. Chinese bamboo, to be specific. You plant the seed, you water it, you fertilize it, you take care of it, and for 5 years, nothing happens. Nothing comes up, no growth, no plant, nothing. Most people would quit. They'd say the seed was bad, they'd say the ground was wrong, they'd say it's a waste of time, but if you keep watering, keep fertilizing, keep believing, something remarkable happens in the 5th year. That bamboo shoots up 90 feet in 6 weeks. 90 feet in 6 weeks. Now, did it grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer is 5 years. All that time, underground where nobody could see, it was developing a root system strong enough to support that incredible growth. Your personal growth works the same way. The 1st year, the 2nd year, even the 3rd year. You might not see much. People might not notice. You might question whether it's working, but underground, where nobody can see, you're developing roots, you're building strength, you're creating a foundation. And when the growth comes, it'll be so rapid, so dramatic that people will call it overnight success. But you'll know better. You'll know it was 5 years or 10 years or 20 years in the making. Here's what you need to understand. The key to the snowball effect isn't just starting, it's sustaining. Anyone can get excited for a day, a week, even a month. But can you keep going when the excitement fades? Can you keep rolling that snowball when you don't see results yet? Can you trust the process when the process seems to be ignoring you? That's where philosophy comes in. See, motivation gets you started, but philosophy keeps you going. You need a reason bigger than your feelings. You need to understand that you're not working for today. You're working for a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You're planting trees you'll sit under later. You're building a foundation for a life you haven't lived yet. I learned this from a mentor who told me, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. That changed everything for me. Because I realized I wasn't trying to change my circumstances, I was trying to change myself. And when I changed, everything else changed. Here's how you sustain momentum. You protect your environment. You become very careful about who you spend time with, what you read, what you watch, what you listen to, because everything is either adding to your snowball or taking away from it. Everything. There's no neutral ground. Every conversation either builds you up or tears you down. Every book either makes you smarter or wastes your time. Every relationship either pushes you forward or holds you back. This is hard for people to accept because they want to believe they can hang around negative people and stay positive. They want to believe they can consume garbage and produce excellence. But it doesn't work that way. You become like the people you associate with. You become like the content you consume. You become like the environment you immerse yourself in. If you want your snowball to pick up gold as it rolls, you've got to roll it through a gold mine, not a garbage dump. I'm not saying you abandon people or become arrogant. I'm saying you become selective. You spend most of your time with people who are going somewhere, who are building something, who are growing themselves. You read books that challenge you, that teach you, that expand your thinking. You listen to ideas that make you uncomfortable because discomfort is where growth happens. And here's something powerful. When your snowball gets big enough, you start attracting the right people and opportunities naturally. Success attracts success. Growth attracts growth. When you're serious about personal development, you'll find that others who are serious about it will find you. You won't have to chase opportunities. Opportunities will start chasing you. But that only happens after you've built momentum, after your snowball has gotten big enough to be noticed. Now let me talk about something most people don't want to hear. Subtraction is just as important as addition. It's not just about what you pick up as you roll downhill, it's about what you avoid picking up. Because some things will stick to your snowball and slow you down. Some things will add weight without adding value. Bad habits are like that. They're easy to pick up and hard to shake off. One cigarette becomes a pack a day. One negative thought pattern becomes depression. One excuse becomes a lifestyle of blame. You've got to be ruthless about what you allow into your life because once it's part of your snowball, it's coming along for the ride. The same goes for relationships that drain you, commitments that don't align with your goals, activities that waste your time. You can't do everything. You can't please everyone. You can't say yes to every opportunity. The word no is just as powerful as the word yes, sometimes more powerful. Every yes to something that doesn't matter is a no to something that does. I've seen people destroy years of momentum because they picked up one bad habit, one toxic relationship, one foolish commitment. They thought they could handle it. They thought it wouldn't affect their progress. But it did. It always does. You can't put mud in your snowball and expect it to stay white. Here's what I want you to understand. The compound effect works in every area of your life simultaneously. You're not just building one snowball, you're building several. You've got a health snowball, a wealth snowball, a relationship snowball, a knowledge snowball, a character snowball. And the beautiful thing is, when you work on one, it affects all the others. When you take care of your health, you have more energy to build your career. When you build your knowledge, you make better decisions in your relationships. When you develop your character, you attract better opportunities. Everything is connected. Everything compounds together. But the reverse is also true. Neglect your health and your productivity suffers. Neglect your relationships and your happiness suffers. Neglect your learning and your income potential suffers. You can't compartmentalize your life and expect to succeed. You've got to work on the whole person because you are the whole person. You can't check part of yourself at the door. So how do you do it? How do you build momentum in multiple areas without overwhelming yourself? You start with one thing, get it rolling, then add another. You don't try to transform everything at once. You build one good habit until it's automatic, then you build another, layer by layer, habit by habit, day by day. Maybe you start with reading 15 minutes a day. You do that for a month until it's natural. Then you add a morning walk. You do both for a month. Then you add saving a small amount of money. You keep building, keep adding, keep growing. Before you know it, you've got 5 or 6 positive habits running on autopilot, and your life is transforming in multiple dimensions at once. This is what separates successful people from everyone else. They understand that life is cumulative. They know that everything counts. They know that nothing is neutral. Every decision, every action, every choice is either adding to their momentum or subtracting from it. And here's the thing about momentum. It's hard to start, but even harder to stop. When you've been consistent for months, for years, it becomes part of who you are. You don't have to force yourself anymore. You don't have to rely on motivation. It's just what you do. It's your identity. That's when life becomes magical. When discipline becomes identity, when effort becomes automatic, when growth becomes natural. You stop trying to be successful and you start being the kind of person who can't help but succeed. It's not an act anymore, it's who you are. But I'll warn you about something. When you start growing, when your snowball starts getting bigger, some people won't like it. They'll try to knock you off course. They'll criticize you. They'll tell you you're changing and not in a good way. They'll try to pull you back to where you were because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. This is where you find out what you're made of. This is where you decide whether you're serious or just interested, because you can't control what other people think, but you can control whether you let it stop you. You've got to be strong enough to keep rolling even when people are throwing stones. You've got to be committed enough to your future that you're willing to be misunderstood in the present. And here's what I've learned. The people who criticize you for growing are usually the same people who would criticize you for staying the same. You can't win with them, so stop trying. Focus on your snowball. Focus on your momentum. Focus on becoming the person you know you can be. Now, let's talk about time, because time is the secret ingredient in the compound effect. You can't rush it. You can't skip steps. You can't microwave results that require slow cooking. Time is what transforms small actions into significant results. But here's the good news. Time is going to pass anyway. 5 years from now, 5 years will have passed whether you use them or waste them. 10 years from now, you'll either be glad you started today or you'll wish you had. The time will pass either way. The only question is what you'll have to show for it. Think about where you were 5 years ago. Now think about where you are today. Did you use those 5 years or did you waste them? Are you better or are you the same? Did your snowball grow or did it melt? Be honest with yourself, because that honesty is the starting point for real change. You can't fix what you won't face. You can't improve what you won't acknowledge. Now look forward 5 years. Where do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want your health to look like? Your bank account, your relationships, your knowledge, your skills, that's your target. That's your hill. Here's what you do. You work backward. If you want to be there in 5 years, where do you need to be in 3 years? If you need to be there in 3 years, where do you need to be in 1 year? If you need to be there in 1 year, what do you need to do this month? If you need to do that this month, what do you need to do this week? If you need to do that this week, what do you need to do today? And there's your answer. There's your starting point. That's what you do today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not next year, today, right now, this moment. Because here's the truth. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. You can't change the past, but you can change the trajectory. You can't get back the time you wasted, but you can make sure you don't waste any more. The snowball can start rolling right now, today, this moment. And when it does, when you commit to the process, when you embrace the compound effect, when you start rolling that snowball downhill, something beautiful happens. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like the creator of your destiny. You stop blaming the economy, the government, your boss, your parents, your past. You start taking responsibility for your future. That's freedom. That's power. That's what it means to take control of your life. Not in some dramatic overnight transformation, but in small daily decisions that compound into something remarkable. You know, there's something I need to tell you about accountability. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to do the work for you. Nobody's going to roll your snowball down the hill while you sit back and watch. This is on you, all of it. Your health is your responsibility. Your wealth is your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. Your growth is your responsibility. And that's actually good news, because if it's your responsibility, that means you have the power to change it. If someone else was responsible, you'd be helpless, but you're not helpless. You're not powerless. You've got everything you need to start right now. You might not have everything you want, but you have everything you need to begin. The truth is, most people know what to do. They know they should eat better. They know they should save more. They know they should learn more. They know they should work on their relationships. Knowing isn't the problem. Doing is the problem. And doing consistently over time, that's where most people fail. But here's what I've discovered. When you tie your daily actions to your long-term vision, everything changes. When you understand that the 10 push-ups you're doing today are building the healthy body you'll have in 5 years, it means something. When you know that the $10 you're saving today is building the financial freedom you'll have later, it matters. When you realize that the 10 pages you're reading today are building the wisdom you'll need tomorrow, you do it. Context gives meaning to discipline. Vision gives purpose to repetition. When you can see where the snowball is going, you don't mind starting small. You don't mind the invisible progress period. You don't mind the criticism. You just keep rolling. Let me tell you about patience, because this is where a lot of people struggle. We want what we want, and we want it now. But life doesn't work on our timeline. The seed doesn't care how badly you want the harvest. It's going to take its time. The only question is whether you'll stick around long enough to reap it. Patience isn't passive. It's not sitting around hoping things get better. Patience is active. It's doing the work while you wait for the results. It's watering the seed every day even though you don't see the plant. It's rolling the snowball even though it's still small. It's trusting that the process works even when the evidence isn't visible yet. And here's something beautiful about the compound effect. Once it kicks in, once that snowball reaches critical mass, the results come faster than you ever imagined. The first steps are slow, the middle is steady, but the end is exponential. That's when years of small effort suddenly produce massive results. That's when people start calling you lucky, talented, gifted. When really, you just understood the principle and applied it longer than they were willing to. You know what the tragedy is? The real tragedy? It's not that people fail, it's that people never try. It's that people live their whole lives wondering what could have been if they had just started that snowball rolling. They get to the end and they're full of regret, full of what ifs, full of excuses about why it didn't work out. Don't be that person. Don't let that be your story. You've got too much potential. You've got too much life ahead of you. You've got too much to offer the world. Start today. Start small. Start simple. But start. Roll that snowball. Feed it with good habits. Protect it from bad influences. Give it time. Trust the process. And watch what happens. Watch how something small becomes something significant. Watch how daily disciplines transform into lifetime achievements. Watch how the compound effect turns ordinary people into extraordinary success stories. Because that's what it does. That's what it's always done. That's what it will do for you if you let it. The principle doesn't play favorites. It doesn't care about your background, your education, your current situation. It only cares about one thing. Are you willing to start and keep going? Are you? Are you willing to be different? Are you willing to do what others won't so you can have what others can't? Are you willing to plant today what you'll harvest tomorrow? The hill is there, the snow is there, the only thing missing is your decision to start rolling. Everything is waiting for you. Your better health is waiting, your better finances are waiting, your better relationships are waiting, your better life is waiting, but it's not going to come to you. You've got to go to it. One small step, one small decision, one small discipline, and then another and another until the snowball is rolling, until the momentum is building, until the compound effect takes over and transforms your life in ways you can't even envision right now. That's the power you have. That's the opportunity in front of you. That's the promise of personal growth. It compounds, it builds, it multiplies, and it never stops working if you never stop feeding it. So here's my question for you, and it's the only question that matters. What are you going to do about it? Because knowing isn't enough. Understanding isn't enough. Even agreeing isn't enough. Action is what counts. Consistent action, daily action, small action that compounds into something great. The snowball is in your hands, the hill is in front of you, and the rest of your life is waiting to see what you'll do with this moment, this day, this opportunity. Years from now, when you look back at today, will you remember this as the day everything changed? Will you remember this as the moment you finally decided to stop waiting and start building? Or will this be just another day you let slip through your fingers? The choice has always been yours. It always will be. And whatever you decide right now, in this moment, will set in motion a series of events that will compound into your future. Choose wisely, choose boldly, choose yourself and the life you deserve. Because you're worth the effort, you're worth the discipline, you're worth the patience it takes to build something meaningful. Don't let anyone, including that voice in your head, convince you otherwise. Start rolling, start building, start becoming. The world needs what you'll become when you commit to this process. And when that snowball finally reaches the bottom of the hill, massive, powerful, unstoppable, you'll understand that it was never about the destination. It was always about who you became along the way. You know what I want you to remember most from everything we've talked about today? It's this. Your life right now is the sum total of all the small decisions you've made up until this point. Every choice, every action, every habit has brought you here. And if you don't like where you are, that's actually wonderful news, because it means you have the power to change it. The same principle that got you here can take you somewhere else. You just have to point it in a different direction. I've lived long enough to see people transform their entire existence by simply committing to the process. I've watched broke individuals become wealthy. I've seen unhealthy people become vibrant and strong. I've observed struggling relationships turn into beautiful partnerships, and in every single case, it started with a decision followed by consistent action. That's it. Nothing mystical, nothing magical, just the compound effect doing what it always does. But I've also seen the opposite. I've watched people with tremendous potential waste it all because they couldn't commit to the small disciplines. They wanted the result without the process. They wanted the harvest without planting the seed. They wanted the snowball at the bottom of the hill without rolling it from the top. And life doesn't work that way. It never has. It never will. Here's what I know for certain. 5 years from now, you're going to arrive. The question is where? You're going to be somewhere different than you are today. You're going to be healthier or sicker, wealthier or broker, wiser or more confused, better or worse. There's no standing still. Time doesn't allow it. Life doesn't permit it. You're moving in some direction, whether you're intentional about it or not. So why not be intentional? Why not choose the direction? Why not start that snowball rolling towards something magnificent instead of letting it roll wherever gravity and circumstance take it? You have that power. You've always had it. The only question is whether you'll use it. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to transform everything overnight. I'm not asking you to become someone you're not. I'm simply asking you to start. Start small. Start today. Start with something so simple you can't fail, and then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Let the compound effect work for you instead of against you. Let time be your ally instead of your enemy. Let consistency be your strength instead of your excuse. Because you can do this. You absolutely can. It doesn't require special talent. It doesn't require perfect circumstances. It doesn't require permission from anyone. It just requires a decision and the discipline to follow through. The snowball is waiting. The hill is ready. Your future is calling. And somewhere deep inside, you already know what you need to do. You've known it all along. So stop overthinking it. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop making excuses. Just start rolling. Start building. Start becoming the person you were meant to be, because that person is worth every ounce of effort it takes to get there. And deep down, you know it's true.